Today's gospel, we witness the call of the 12. This gospel passage teaches what a vocation looks like. First, a call to serve God comes from the divine. God calls us first, and then we freely respond. Free to answer this call, or sadly to reject it. The Gospel of John reminds us of this divine initiative when we hear in the Gospel, "It was not you who chose me, but I who chose you." Look at whom Christ calls to friendship with him. Peter, who would later deny the Lord 3 times. James and John, who argued about who should be first in God's kingdom. Thomas, who heard about the resurrection and still refused to believe. The Lord called sinners to be his closest friends, and so he still calls to you and me as well, those of us who need the divine physician. Friendship with Christ means holiness. Christ wanted those 12 and every person to become saints. Friendship with Christ means being washed clean in his blood and offered the gift of heaven. Just as Christ formed the first 12, he desires to shape us. Christ tells us what every Christian vocation consists of, that we might be with him, 1, and 2, that he might send us forth. To be with Christ means to enjoy his friendship. Even before Christ asked the first 12 to do anything, he wished them to be with him. Christ calls his friends to communion with him. We are in communion with Christ when we pray, when we receive his sacraments, especially the Eucharist and penance. To be sent forth means proclaiming Christ to others. We proclaim Christ to others by uttering his holy name, by caring for our neighbor, and loving God and all that is holy. We are meant to be holy, to be saints, and this comes by responding to the divine call, "Follow me." We follow Christ all the way to heaven by being with him and going forth to tell others the good news. No matter what our state in life, our life should proclaim and point to the goodness of God. John the 23rd prayed often a prayer that this gospel asks us to reflect on this day. Lord, let me be such a servant that people will say, "If this be the servant, how much greater must the master be?"